Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to today's full moon in Capricorn, Quantum Unveiled. We are going to be diving deep into the collective timeline shifts that are happening, understanding what a timeline shift, what is really happening, what's going on in the world, and also on how the astrology of today and this world is really showing up and affecting us, right? And starting with this idea of reality. And I'd love to, again, if you are on the chat, if you want to turn on your video, I love to see your beautiful faces. You can say hi, and also leave a comment in the chat. Just let me know where you're joining from, and would love to see all these wonderful people. So welcome everyone to our Quantum Unveiled Masterclass and ceremony on the Capricorn full moon. So I want to know, and I would love put a 1 in the chat if you ever feel like some people are living on a different planet. If you ever feel like you're like, look at it, there's like people living on a different planet, they're like, like their reality is so different from yours, and you're like, how is it you can actually believe, think, see that in that way, right? So much polarity going on in our world right now. Oh yeah, I see all the ones coming in. Yeah, right? And this Capricorn Cancer polarity is really showing this to us all right now. Because we actually do have people living in different realities in this time frame right now. And what does that mean? Well, we are going through a collective timeline shift, meaning that Mother Gaia, Mother Earth herself, is shifting into a completely new timeline. This is the best show in the galaxy right now. Everybody is here everybody is coming from all over the galaxies, from everywhere to this point in time right now, because this is the best show in the entire universe. Everybody wants to see what is going to happen, because it is one of the first times that a whole entire planet is shifting dimensions, is shifting. But what is happening in our current reality because of that is we're living in multiple realities on a plane right now. And we can tell this, we can find this out because of the Mandela Effect, right? Those of you that have never heard of the Mandela Effect, or are like, well, maybe what is that? So the Mandela Effect was named after Nelson Mandela because there was a group of people that all collectively remembered Nelson Mandela dying in 1981 while in prison. Yet in the current reality that we're living in now, in 2013, he got out of prison and he became president, and he died many, many years later. So this has come to be seen that we can see this through all sorts of different experiences, realities, when we talk about things like the Monopoly man who no longer has a monocle, right? So many different things that we're showing. And so we're living in these multiple realities in this time frame right now. And so when we think about that and we think about these timeline shifts, we have to understand, like, well, what reality are you actually living in? And I'm going to tell you how I can tell a reality that somebody's living in, and whether they're making the jump to a new timeline or if they're staying in the other one. And this Capricorn full moon with the Cancer and Sun is really highlighting the polarity of what is happening right now. We're going to get into the astrology behind it. But I want to tell you, you ever want to know this consciousness of someone and where they're at and what timeline they're on and which reality they're living in? Go to their social media. Give me 5 minutes with someone's social media, and I'll tell you what timeline they're living in. 5 minutes. So I don't know if you guys are on Instagram, but there's a couple of things that you can understand about it. If you take how we layer on realities and think about like this. So when you take a picture on Instagram, you can actually throw filters on it, right? You can put a filter on top of it, another filter. Those filters are our experiences. Some of them are pre-birth experiences. So, some of them are others, but they layer, right? So it's an overlay, it's a filter. So we add another filter, And sometimes those experiences are so drastic or traumatic that the image that you see all the way at the, at the end when after you layer on all of those filters is really, really skewed. And that's what's happening in our realities right now is people are living in a different timelines and they're throwing these filters on themselves, right? So I might start out here and be like, oh, look, I have brown hair, a nose ring, and then I throw on a filter and it can change the shape of my face. Or I can throw on a filter and I'll get glitter makeup, right? Or I can throw on a filter and I can have something else happen. This is our own experiences. Everything from our past is a filter onto our lives, right? And then we go deeper into this, and Instagram has an algorithm. Think of it like this: a click equals a thought. A click equals a like, right? So a thought equals a like. So if on Instagram, if you click on a picture and you like it, and you click on a picture a couple of times, or that style of picture, it thinks you love it and it's going to show you more of that. So, this is how I say you can give me somebody's social media and I'll know exactly, because the algorithms are showing what they're paying attention to, what they're liking, what they're doing, what's showing up. And this gives you this, and this is exactly how we work in our own reality. Every time, whether you're doing it on social media or your thoughts or the ways that you act, every time that thought, that click, that like is creating the reality that you're currently living in. And, it's sometimes, it's kind of fun to do this, right? Or maybe not. So, you just go onto your partner or your spouse's Instagram and you just ask them to let you click the search button and see what happens. I did that once. Let me just tell you, it tells you everything you need to know. And you can literally see what what's been clicking on versus what they're clicking, right? It's vastly different. You can look at two different search engines. You can look at these things. This is how we're living our daily lives. So this is how our lives work, because we have what's called a reticular activating system, right? Your RAS, and it is how you filter the world and how you pull in reality. It's exactly like an Instagram algorithm. It can show you the bits of information at once. But unlike Instagram, where a click equals a like, your reticular activating system, your RAS system, a thought or intention, it creates your reality, right? It's creating your universe. And so if you want to see something different, you have to click on something different, both in your mind, on your social media, right? So think about like this. If you're worried about something, this is how it works in our minds, right? Like, so I live in a reality where certain things don't exist for me. Right? So let's go with something that is really polarizing. So whatever your beliefs are, I'm not giving you a belief here. I'm not saying this is what you have a right or wrong belief, but here's a belief around COVID, right? I lived in a reality where it didn't exist for me. So I don't have the vaccine. I traveled all over the world during COVID. I did those things. Now, I'm not saying that reality doesn't exist for the people that it existed for. Absolutely, because they're living in a different dimension than I am living in, right? And so the way that I'm clicking, the things that I'm doing, the way that I'm experiencing things has put me into a different timeline. I am on a different timeline with Earth than what someone else may be. And we are divine co-creators. So we have the ability to allow ourselves to do that. So this is what's going on right now in this Capricorn and full moon. We are in a huge, huge collective shift. The Capricorn full moon brings, again, this spotlight on the Cancer Capricorn polarity. This is the second Capricorn full moon in a row. This is big. All right. This is the journey. This is the journey of really becoming self-responsible, of becoming an emotional adult. This is the time for us to have a completion of a maturation journey. And it goes all the way back to the beginning of this year, the beginning of 2024. So I want you all to take a moment and think. What is different for you since January of this year? It's only been 7 months. How many of you feel like it's like light years different? Yeah, Barbara's like, uh-huh. So is Brad. Brad's like, uh-huh. Yeah, me too. In January of 2024, I was living in another state. I was in a relationship. I was in a completely different space. Everything about my life was completely different. And 7 months later, everything has shifted. And that's what everyone is going through right now. We're going through this huge shift. And what it's doing is it's asking us to complete chapters of our lives, right? So that we can reveal something about ourselves that we were unaware of, something that is likely to be uncomfortable to see. So whatever's happened in the last year, the things that going back to 1 year ago, right? So I just celebrated my 47th birthday this week. And 1 year ago, when I was celebrating my 46th, I had a massive shift. And the 1 year cycle for me, and for many of us, this 1 year right now is powerful, because in the last year, what has happened is it's asking us, where do you need to grow the fuck up? Where are you still holding on to your karma, your shit, your stuff that is not allowing you to move forward into your highest destiny timeline? Where have you not forgiven? Where have you not released? And guess what? Everybody that came into your life, every experience, every event in the last year was here to show you where you were not living into your highest self. I know it was for me. I absolutely learned. I cleared a lot of karmic debt in the last year, stuff that I still had lingering on. I cleared a lot of old residue around abandonment and rejection. I've been working on that shit for years. And you guys have one of those core wounds you've been working on for years, right? Finally, I was like, okay, I got it, figured this out. And so this second full moon in Capricorn happens on what we call the last degree of the sign. So the 29th degree of any sign, technically called the anaretic degree, it represents this powerful point of the zodiac wheel. It is the completion point. It is the ending. It is the time where we're saying we've completed a learning process, an evolutionary journey, and it marks a time when issues often reach their breaking point and everything becomes more extreme. So in the last little bit, if everything seems a little more extreme, if you're hitting your low lows and your high highs, it's because it's the last push through. It's always darkest before the dawn, right? I say before every breakthrough, there's a breakdown. You must break down old beliefs, ideas, and habits to break through to a new existence. So if shit has gotten really bad in the last couple of months, it's because you are at a precipice right now. You are at a precipice, and you are at the moment where you can make the timeline shift now and jump and join those of us that are headed to the galactics, right? It's time for that shift. It's time for us to move over into that thing. But the key to this is, and we'll do it, we're going to get into the timeline shifting. And those of you who've been in any of my other calls or courses, you know that the one thing I talk about with timeline shifting, moving into highest destinies, rewriting your past, using retrocausal, all of these things, all of the things that we'll be doing. Actually, we have our course starting tomorrow, the quantum leap mastery and timeline shifting course. And the thing that you have to understand is you can jump into a higher timeline. And I've had several people do this in my life, clients, friends, partners, and then see them collapse or disappear or lose. Why? Because if your vibrational frequency, if your resonance is not in alignment, again, I'll go into talking about octaves and how this works, then you can't stay in that timeline. And you will go back, and let me tell you, when you drop back into another timeline, into a lower vibrational, otherworldly timeline, it's worse than it was the first time around. It's not ever easier. Because why? Because the universe is there saying, okay, you're back here again. I guess we got to make it harder on you to show you that you're not supposed to be here. How many of you have ever felt that? Put a 2 in the chat if you've ever been like, yeah, I have hit a harmonic point. I've hit a place in my life where I've had the same experience again, and it was harder the next time around because I didn't learn my lesson. People say, shaking their heads, lots coming in. Yeah. So We want to say, how do I vibrationally stay in a new experience? And we use this experience, the polarity of the Capricorn right now to say, okay, finally, what are the last things that I need to let go of? Who do I need to forgive? Who do I need to, what do I need to, you know, for you, maybe it's forgiveness for myself. What do I need to let go of? Thoughts, beliefs, ideas, habits, people, places, things. This is a great time to clear out energy and your feng shui, right? Energy in your house. If you've got a lot of clutter, a lot of things like that going on, this final degree, it's time to clear it out. This is the clearing that we've all been looking for, because we are literally activated into a timeline shifts. After today, there is no going back. There's literally a line in the sand in the universal collective right now. This second full moon in Capricorn, it is powerful. It is a time of no return. And so how many of you are going to be a part of this new zone? Everything is going to change. You're going to start to see the weird get weirder in the next year or two. Meaning there's going to be more polarity, more dissonance, because the ugly, the bad, the negative, whatever you want to call it, it's just polarity. It's all on the same line, is being shown so powerful so that we can see the opposite over here. And these two timelines with Earth, right? So think of like Earth was like this, a big ball, you know, Mother Gaia. And as the timelines start to shift, the vibrational frequency, they're splitting. They're splitting like this, and it's going to be like 1 degree of separation at the apex. At the end becomes light years away. And so we're having this vibrational shift. We have 3D, and then we have coming into this new 5D consciousness, and Mother Gaia is splitting. And we're at the end of what's called the 75,000 year cycle called the Kali Yuga. And at the end of this cycle, that where we're at right now, there is, again, we're the greatest show in the galaxies. There's 8 billion souls on this planet at this time, because everybody wants to be here to see this. And 65 million of those souls are what we call volunteers, meaning that they've come from other places, experiences. There's levels of volunteers that are here to help with this shift, so we can get as many people as possible, as many souls as possible, to come back over onto this. Because guess what? Those souls that don't get to make the jump, they get to go through another 75,000 years, which we are infinite beings, so there is no such thing as time. And we get into the quantum reality of time deeper in our course, and I've shared on it some other things, but another 75 years of doing this same thing over here. And the rest of us get to go over here and hang out in the light and do some other cool stuff and learn on a higher level. How many of you want to go with me to the higher level? Are we ready? 5D? Let's do it. Yes. Okay. So diving deeper into this, what we have going on, right, is this double activation of this point underlines the pervasive sense of instability and uncertainty. How many of you watch? I don't watch the news, but I have people send me shit. How many of you know that there's a lot of instability, and uncertainty going on in the world right now? Yeah. And yet there's something magical happening, right? I feel the stablest and most certain that I ever have about who I am and where I'm at. And so those of us here that are holding the ley lines, that are here to allow for this experience of I'm in this, right? Like, we are required to get our vibrations and our resonance right, to hold for the stability of the rest of them. It only takes a square root of 1% of the population for an entire shift of everyone. 1% of square root of 1% of the population. When you start to think of it that way, we've already, so if you know anything about David Hawkins' levels of consciousness, Just 30 years ago, our levels of consciousness for the entire planet were at like 185, which is pretty freaking low, with less than 15% of the world living at above 500 and less than 1% living at 600 or above. And I'm not going to get into the explaining what this is, but 500 is the level of love and 550 is unconditional love. We have in the last 30 years, this is huge. It doesn't sound like much, but it's huge. We have shifted the collective. So 8 billion people have shifted over 16 points from 185 to 201. That's huge, right? And that's only because the numbers of those living at 500 and above have started to shift up. And that's what I believe. If you are on this call today, it is because you are supposed to be part of the shift with us, right? We are all in this together. And although to be at the 500 or above is even in that is very much a rarity. Maybe you're at a 300 or a 400. There is no right or wrong. It is not good or bad. But every level that you're out that's above a 201, if you're a 3 or a 350 or a 4 or a 450, wherever you're at, you are making a difference right now in what is happening. And that allows us to have this instability and this uncertainty start to come into a solidification. So with this full moon in Capricorn, we also have Pluto. We love our Pluto. We have Pluto at what is retrograde at 0 degrees of Aquarius, which is about the collective initiation. So with 0 degrees in both Pluto in Aquarius and Mars in Gemini, these degrees represent the very beginning of a new process, right? So 29 is the end, 0 is the beginning. This is the seed phase of a project or idea, pure potential, something that has just started that we know nothing about just yet. Remember what I just said? We crossed a line. This is the line. We don't even know. Like I sound like I know a bunch of stuff, and I'll be honest, I don't know anything, right? I know what I get channeled. I know what I get downloaded. I get amazing messages. I work with all sorts of really cool entities, and I get a lot of really amazing messages. But in the end, is it really real? Do I know anything? No. I'm just teaching you from where I know what I know right now. And I'll tell you the stuff that I was teaching 10 years ago. You know, if they'd have told me I was teaching this now, I'd be like, what? No, it's completely different. And so I know 10 years from now, I'm going to know something completely different. But I do know that right now, there is something coming that we know nothing about just yet. We are at these crux. This suggests that we're going through, right? This 0 degrees suggests that we're going through a massive collective initiation. So I have a mystery school, and we bring in our mystery school, we talk about initiations and the initiates. There are so many of us being initiated right now into the mysteries, into learning processes, into purging, right? Initiating into this new world. And so right now there's a collective initiation going on. And this is where we need to really start to say, it will be necessary to step back and solve unfinished business before we can move forward and close this current cycle. So I want you to take a moment. This is not me just talking to you today. We're going to do some work together. So if you have a pen or paper or something that you can write on, you can write down what unfinished business do you have? What is something that you thought you already healed or solved that is not actually healed? This is really important to think about. And we all have things, right? I don't care how long you've been doing this work. There's always something. So where are you stuck on your cycle? What is your harmonic point? What is the imprint? What is the final last piece of the thing that you need to let go of? I'm super grateful for all of the amazing souls that I brought into this lifetime that have given me the deepest heartache and challenges of my life to allow me to heal the final pieces of, the last thing that I worked on. My last thing was my rejection and abandonment that I've been working on for years. And I had such a powerful experience back in March around that I know for a fact I will never feel that way again. And it was horrific. And it was beautiful. So, you have to look at those pieces. So I'd love if you're willing to put it into the chat, if you're willing to share a little bit, I'd love to know what are your last, what is the something that you need to come to a close, a completion, a cycle. Forgive my aunt and uncle. Yeah. Self-forgiveness. It's a powerful one, Victoria. Learn to truly be a mother. Ancestral patterns of trauma in my family unit. Yes. Level up my commitment to my personal responsibility, health and wellness. Root chakra, spine and abundance. Self-forgiveness. So this is one of the things that we do in our quantum jumping and timeline mastery. So we do work on shifting into your highest destiny timeline. We work on time bending and using Kairos time and Chronos time to have a experience. But we also, the number one thing that you have to do is you have to rewrite your past. You have to let go. You have to complete the cycles. You have to allow those things, because think about this. If I step into a new destiny timeline and I still have some shit over here, right? If I go here and this is still here, what's it going to do? It's going to pull me. It's going to pull me down, right? So what what we have to do is we start there always, right? Fear of being abused again, coming full circle and healing those suffering with addiction. Yes. Unworthiness. Yes. So those are all of the things that we have to really start to focus on first, right? Clear that for the final time, allow that, and not just at a cognitive level, right? I'm talking at a embodiment level, at an energetic level, in your bones, in your DNA, in the very core of your being, for all space and time. What if this challenge or this thing that you have that's been going on, what if it's not even from this lifetime? Maybe it's showing up in this lifetime because it's coming from, all this layering, these other lifetimes and this other experience, and is bleeding through into this life. We want our gifts to bleed through, but we don't want our shit to bleed through, right? I had my abandonment and rejection challenges. Okay, it started for me 75 lifetimes ago. I went in and did work in my Akashic 75 lifetimes ago when when I was in a lifetime. It was in Roman times where I had this beautiful divine soul, this person, right? My partner loved me, wanted me, everything, and then discarded me. And I actually died of starvation and heartache. And so I basically committed suicide from that. And it followed me through all these lifetimes. And if anybody knows my story, when the love of my life, my partner, and I in my early 20s broke up, I nearly killed myself. Not on purpose. I starved myself. And I did so many drugs that I almost went to prison and I nearly died. And so I brought that from another lifetime into this lifetime. And then I got the beauty of getting back with that partner last year and getting to heal it completely when we got to go through this, go through experience again, and I got to completely heal that experience and, and learn that at peace. So this is what we are experiencing, what we're working towards. Like, is it this lifetime or is it these past lifetimes? And that's what we do in the quantum leap course of mastery. Is like, I want to let go of this final thing. So what I want to now ask you is you wrote down that thing. Who would you be without that? I want you to just take a moment and close your eyes and imagine you didn't have that challenge, that thing, you finally completed that cycle, and it's no longer in your life. Who would you be? Notice that person. Feel that person. What could you do, experience, have, if you no longer carried that story with you? Yeah, powerful. So this Capricorn full moon with this conjunct retrograde Pluto brings to completion a journey of both psychological and emotional transformation. This is where you're at. This event shines the light on the shadows and offers us an opportunity to gain awareness of what attachments need to be released and what needs to drastically shift in order for us to mature. Pluto, who is the lord of the underworld, he is the force of evolution. He is the dark masculine. He always calls for radical transformation. Radical. Are you ready to radically transform your life? If you are, put a 2 in the chat. Are you ready to step over the line and see something completely new? That's exactly what we're working towards and what we're doing in the Quantum Leap course, because I want everyone to come into this new timeline shift together, and we have to do this in a radical way. Release the attachments, let go of that. This current astrology, which is running through, right? Like, so astrology is not just one day at a time. And if you guys want to know anything more about is astrology real, you guys can go onto my YouTube and listen to my thing about is astrology real, and you can see how Dr. Nader actually won a prize back in 1995 for mapping all of the stars and the galaxies inside of our brain and our bodies. So, and he was at MIT. Yeah, he's an MIT physicist. Anyways, a scientist at MIT. So astrology is real. It is actually mapping in us, right? So the current astrological configurations highlight the necessity of actually structurally transforming both our inner and outer reality, allowing what has run its course to die, and releasing our reliance on old coping strategies and ways of being. What are your old coping strategies? Are you on the hamster wheel? Are you in Groundhog's Day? Do you wake up every day and do the same thing over and over, or are you making daily steps towards your highest destiny? Insanity, right? And so this is insanity, is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. What will you willing to do differently to move into your highest destiny? So we have these unprocessed psychological and emotional pain. So we have a lot of that. It's probably going to come up right now, right? It's asking for a full presence. It's asking to be felt without judgment. So again, this is about, I'm not judging myself for these things or other people, but I'm looking at myself with compassion. And so we have an opportunity to also be aware of your defense mechanisms. Where do we avoid? Or what kind of manipulative strategies do we employ to have our needs met without having to be vulnerable? So this full moon with Pluto conjunct is really seeing the deeper evolutionary intentions and lessons behind the repetitive cycles and patterns that we continuously get caught in. It invites us to recognize what needs to change within our lives in order to have different experiences. So then let's think about it. What is the different experience that you want to have? Think of just one thing. What is one thing in your life that you're like, maybe it's something you've been trying for so long, like one thing that you really want. For me, you want to know, like, I'll be blunt and honest, right? You guys all know, if you've been around my work for a really long time, that I'm super authentic. And everything. And I really always say I've pretty much created a life that is absolutely magical. And I've gotten everything that I've wanted except for one thing. One thing. And it's a divine union. It's the one thing that I've seeked in my whole life that I've not figured out yet. And so that is my repetitive whatever. Like, I've healed all the other stuff, right? I've got all the other things, but I got that one thing. So what's your one thing? So for me, it's not about business. It's not about wealth. It's not about any of those, because I've had it all. I've made millions. I've traveled the world. I've done all sorts of really cool stuff, right? I've had it all. And so I have the one thing. So what's your one thing? I want to hear, what is your one thing that you want, that you haven't created yet? Pick one for right now. I know there's probably many. The one that hurts. What is it? And you're like, if I really don't get this in this lifetime, it's going to really fucking suck. Because that's what we're doing the timeline mastery stuff for. And I do all this work on myself all the time. I already know for a fact that I'm going to get what I want. So I haven't gotten it yet, but I know I will get what I want. I have no question. I know I'm in that experience, right? I get to have, it's divine Kairos time, divine timing, right? Kairos time, so there's chronological time, Chronos time, which is how you all showed up here today because you knew what time to show up. And then we have Kairos time. Kairos time is time that is layered, that has to do with resonance of different things showing up at different experiences and different times, resonance in those things, right? You have to have a frequency resonance. The other thing that you're pulling in has to have the same frequency and resonance, and it has to show up in a certain way at a certain time. That is Kairos time. So I know I'm going to get what I want. I'm just waiting for Kairos time, divine timing. Didn't always know that, but now I know it, right? So what is your one thing that if you don't get in this lifetime, that you're just going to be like, I'm going to have to come back and do that again? Let's see what we got. Okay. A healthy spine, stable home for my own and my family, healed family, financial freedom, wealth. Yes, beautiful. Self-love. Yeah. All of those things are possible. Do you all believe it's possible? You have to have the belief of possibility first. Yeah, it is possible. Great. So it's asking this astrology in the skies right now, right? The sun in Cancer, the moon in Capricorn, all of it there, 29 degrees. And then we have what Chiron is getting thrown in the mix with all of this, right? So this indicates an increase in inner tension. It suggests a sense of urgency. How many of you feel like this is like, it has to happen now? That can't wait any longer. Ready. Yeah, right? There's an urgency right now in the whole entire world, collective urgency for us to heal our unresolved wounds from our past that are holding us back in our present. It is collective. The activation of Chiron, this celestial body, is connected with the wounded healer. It's our deepest vulnerabilities. It's our feelings of rejection and non-belonging. It's the indicator of our necessity to take care of our unprocessed emotional pain from our past. And it's also telling us that we have the right to exist, the right to have needs, and are worthy of being fully seen. So you are here right now to look at the wounds. And I'm, since we're talking about collective timelines and collective timeline shifts, I want you to now think about, because we're going to do a little worker with the collective today around a timeline shift, because we do a lot of stuff for ourselves. What is something that you would like to see in the collective, a wound, an unresolved wound in the collective to be healed? Share something that you see going on in the world right now, or something that without judgment, right? This isn't a judgment. This is raising the vibration, raising the resonant frequency, and bringing it all together so we can all shift into a timeline. What is something for the collective that needs to be processed? What is the wounded, what is the Chiron of our collective experience right now? And everybody's going to have something different. It might be for some people, the planet and the environment. It might be for people, the wars that are going on. It might be the genocide that's happening. It might be, I'm a big, someone that works big in trafficking. It might be something, what is it, right? There's so many different things. Family dysfunction and healing, acceptance of all. Yeah, connection, the division of humanity. Yeah, there's so many things going on right now, right? And we have to work on those things together. Kindness, yes. Yeah. So now the final piece of this planetary alignment is asking us, where do you need to set boundaries? Where do you need to be more compassionate, both with yourself and with others? I usually find that people find it easier to be compassionate with others than they are with themselves, right? Because these are the things that are going to allow you to make a change, to explore new solutions to the issues that we are facing as a collective. Because if we have raised 16 points on the Hawkins scale of consciousness in 30 years, everything is going exponentially faster right now. Does everybody feel like everything's speeding up? Do you notice it? Exponentially faster. So we got to exponentially jump into a new experience, exponentially jump. And so it's that what took 30 years before will take half the time, or even half the time to make this happen. Yeah. Okay. So when we really think about it and start to work into understanding this collective shift, we have to say, okay, if I heal my own Instagram filters and layers, right? If I shift my likes and my wants, my reality will start to change. And I'll be okay with other people's realities being what their realities are, right? It's okay. But I know that there's something else available for me. Because what is that one thing that I want that I haven't created yet, that I haven't had, that I haven't been able to experience? So we can alter time and bend and play with it. We can move it forward. We can move it around. We can expand it. We can contract it. You can allow this to, so when we are working with playing with time, so time bending, right? Like I can allow for myself to have an experience where I'm not in Chronos time, where I can step out of Chronos time, where I can actually rapidly shift and fold time so that the thing that I want comes to me closer and faster. But to do that, I have to rewrite my past. I have to heal those things. And then from that, I can jump into a new timeline, into a new experience, into another vibrational experience, right? So I had one of my biggest timeline shifts in 2017. Most of you that have been around my work for a long time know this, right? In 2017, I was in Tonalot on my 40th birthday. So 7 years ago, just a couple of days ago. And I was sitting on top of in Tonalot, it's in the Indian Ocean. I was sitting on top of a big rock, and I saw the world viscerally shift around me. I saw a literal visceral shift, and everything was before 40 and after 40 for me. and that visceral shift. But that visceral shift didn't just come with, oh, now everything is different. I actually had to think different, be different, do different things. It was after that shift that I shifted the way that I worked, that I decided that I was going to completely live into a new vibration, right? I didn't know that that's what I needed to do at that time. I was still learning those processes, but I was living into a different way. I had gone from working 80 hours a week, we're building these businesses, doing this stuff. And I had spent a year trying to figure it all out and completely shifting my business. And I was like, never again. I'm done. Never again. I'm not going to work like this. I'm not going to work out of fear of having enough income, because I've been homeless in 2009. So I lived for years in fear of ever not having enough again. And so I built a business where I helped many people, but I was still working and living in this fear. And that day, on my 40th birthday, I drew a line in the sand. My whole world shifted. And I aligned to such inner faith and understanding. I had a resonant frequency that I knew everything would always be okay and I'd always have more than enough, that I've never had an experience again where I ever had to say, okay, like, I took a year off of work. All of those, I shut down my business in 2022 and took a year off from 2022 to 2023 and still had money coming in. Don't know how, like I wasn't working to make it, right? It just showed up in some miraculous ways at times. And it's because I believed in the fact that I could have whatever I needed and whatever I wanted. And then I had a resonant frequency of even stepping into it. So when you're stepping into new destinies and new timelines, you have to solidify yourself into that new experience, into that new timeline, because otherwise you'll hop into it, but you won't stay there. You won't stay strong. So think of a timeline like this. So if you have, everybody knows octaves of a musical notes, right? You have octaves, and there's these octaves. And so in a current timeline, you may have octaves and degrees of where you're bouncing around in this experience, in this vibration. These are like, they're all really close together. They're little tiny shifts, but they're all pretty much the same experience. Some will be a little bit higher. You'll have a little bit better, but are all in that. If you want to make a big timeline shift, like I did in 2017, you're jumping a whole other octave to a whole nother experience up here. But when you're in this new octave, you have to stay at that frequency. Otherwise, what happens? You'll drop back down into this other octave. You have to learn to stay in that. So one of the other things that we do in our quantum timeline, quantum jumping and timeline mastery courses, we teach you how to align your nervous system and your body and your whole experience to be able to keep that leap. When you leap out there, you have to align not just, I want this desire, it's intention, frequency, and your nervous system and your body that must align to stay in a new timeline and all the way down into your divine, your DNA, right? So you have to learn how to stay in that frequency. And so one of the things that that I'm giving away as a bonus on our course is our divine DNA and bliss consciousness activations and healings. Because once we get you and shift and rewrite your past and then put you into your future and you work on this and you learn how to start bending time, we actually do all these fun exercises around bending time, how to expand time, how to collapse time. Then you have to stay in the frequency. And so by learning how to talk to your DNA and stay in bliss consciousness, you'll learn to stay in the frequency of that new timeline and work on shifting your actual energetic, your nervous system, right? Your body, everything that you have in that. So we want to be able to start to play with this. And we can do this in many powerful ways. So one of the things that I love to share about is not only can you, time and place, things, experiences, material is malleable. I have a story of one of my mentors who fell off of a stage and broke his leg. Had the x-rays done, went to the doctor. And then 4 days later, he was walking around and running like absolutely normal. Like, wait, I thought you broke your leg. And he's like, I did in one timeline, in one experience. But he's like, I went back and I did the art of revision, which is a retrocausal experience. He went back and shifted that. And he even went back to the doctor where the x-rays were done, and the x-rays no longer had a break in them either. One of my really good colleagues and friends, Alyssa, bought a brand new Tory Burch purse. Brand new, just got, literally taking it home from the store, and spilled a bottle of essential oils in it. Completely, you know, anybody knows what essential oils does to leather, like big oil spot, right? And she's like, not going to have it. So before she went to bed, she did the art of revision. She did this thing, woke up the next day, and it was 80% better. Like, 80% is not good enough. I want a brand new purse. I want it to be brand new like the day I bought a home. Went to bed that night, did it again, woke up the next day, and the purse was 100% brand new and original. I know this stuff sounds crazy and woo-woo, but it is possible. It is true. When I did my timeline shift in 2017, 3 months later, I got a phone call from a friend in Florida. Now, mind you, I left Ohio in 2004 without anything. I got out. I had to get away, and I moved to Florida. I left behind my child, everyone that I loved, everything that I owned, except for some clothes, and escaped so that because I had 2 friends that flatlined in my house, and I was the one that dosed them, and they nearly died. And so I got out. I left. And I left everything, including my wonderful, wonderful baby, behind. And then 13 years later, after that timeline shift in 2017, the only regret that I had was that I did not have anything from those years. I didn't have my child's baby books. I didn't have any pictures. I didn't have anything. And I got a phone call 3 months after that timeline shift from a friend in Florida, not in Ohio, in Florida, who says, I have a box for you, a memory box. I didn't know what it was at the time, but a box. I picked up this box from them. I didn't open it for a year. And in 2018, I opened this box, and it was a memory box. It had my child's baby book in it, pictures, love letters from that man that was the love of my life. Still the love of my life. And all of these amazing things that I had left in Ohio, but somehow my friend in Florida had some 13 years later. The power of what you can do when you bend time, play with time, shift your timelines and your destinies is beyond anything that you could imagine. But it requires you to heal. It requires you to shift your nervous system. It requires you to learn the processes to rewire your brain. So one of the things that we do in the timeline quantum leap course is we work with frequencies and geometry. So I'm going to explain to you a little bit. We're not going to get deep into it now because we'll find out about more later. But everything is a frequency. I even take my medications by frequency now. I use something called an AO scanner, and even take all of my supplements and my medications by frequency, because everything has a frequency. But a frequency, if you've ever seen water or anything, a frequency turns into sacred geometry. Why is this important? Because sacred geometry is the visual that repatterns your brain. So I have mandalas from Nepal that you're supposed to sit in front of and meditate, that I have that were hand painted and done from Nepal. If you sit in front of those with your eyes open and visually meditate with them, the geometry of it rewires your brain. That's why if you've ever done DMT, ayahuasca, psilocybin, and had a peak experience and you see geometry, it is because the frequency is creating a sacred geometry that is then repatterning your brain to something new. So we go into frequency and geometry and how you can use certain geometries by looking at them and seeing them to actually rewire your brain, to rewire your experiences so that you can live into these new destinies. And actually, for those of you that are coming to my autumn equinox quantum miracles experience in Austin in September, I'm going to have big sacred geometry things, and we're going to be using them and doing a sacred geometry ceremony to repattern your brain. It's going to be super cool. I know several saying that because several of you that are on here on this call have already signed up for that and joined me. So this is the power of what we can do to shift ourselves. So how many of you are ready for the timeline shift? Put a 1 in the chat if you're like, I am ready. I'm ready to take it to the next step. I am ready for a timeline shift. Yes. Yeah. And how many of you are ready to let go of what's no longer serving you? Awesome. Now, I know that this is possible. Like you can do this one of two ways. I have I have things on my YouTube. I have things on my Vimeo. You can go and you can start to learn the processes. You can do some of the things. There's awesome little pieces and ways, right? I have all sorts of meditations. I have things like that. So if you want to go that route and do it on your own, I have tons and tons of free content. I've been doing this for a really long time and I'm happy to share with you and do that. But if you want to have the support and learn the processes step by step that I've been teaching my community and in our mystery school and with my private clients, and you want to learn it and work with us together for the next 4 weeks and actually put the processes and have the accountability and do every day and have challenges and have fun, then I invite you to join me starting tomorrow. We have our first live call this Thursday, but the first module is released tomorrow. I invite you to join me. And we have an amazing group of people that have already signed up for our Quantum Leap and Timeline Shifting Mastery Deep Dive. It's a 4-week deep dive into what I've just been explaining to you. You're going to dive into rewriting your past. You're going to learn the art of revision. You're going to learn how to step into a place in the future and do what we call retrocausal, where it comes and picks you up and takes you into that new experience. You're going to get frequencies and meditations and all these experiences so that you can shift your reality. And you're going to learn how to step into a new collective reality, a new timeline together. We harness the energy of the astrology and everything that we do because everything is all interconnected. And so you're going to spend this next month with me deep diving into this stuff. This is something that I have only taught with private clients and in my mystery school. This is the first time I'm offering this as a standalone course into timeline shifting, into retrocausality, into working and rewriting the past using quantum reality as a key for specifically timeline shifting for yourself and for the collective. If you're ready to step into a new destiny, a higher timeline, then I invite you to join me in this. And so I'm going to share with you. So you're going to be learning the fundamentals of timeline work. Hold on, let me share this with you. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, no, not yet. You're going to be learning the fundamentals of timeline work, right? So understanding the philosophy, the science, and the practice that underline timeline work. You're going to learn how to reshape your past and align with your future through non-linear techniques. You're going to experience guided meditations, journeys, frequencies, geometry that allow you to connect with your future self and uncover hidden potentials from other lifetimes even. I've had people pulling gifts from other lifetimes, different things. I did this with myself, and I'm now channeling and getting messages and seeing things that I never would have thought possible. And it just keeps growing. We engage in breath work and energy healing sessions together to deepen your practice. You're going to learn about retrocausality in the quantum realm, explore how the future can actually influence the present, right? We always think the past is influencing us. We all know our shit from the past is influencing us, but guess what? So is your future. You ever had a moment of deja vu or had an ever experience where you think about it? That is your future self out there being like, I've actually, you know how many times in my now time I've gone back to help my 20-year-old self, the one that was so devastated, the one that was so messed up, right? I've gone back many times and I actually have recognitions and memories of moments in time back then where something was just like, oh, wow. And now I know it was me here now doing this and going back there to make sure I didn't die, you know, that I hung in there because I was going to do some amazing shit later in life, right? We're going to identify and overcome your personal blocks, heal your old wounds, embrace a new future. You're going to learn and we're going to participate in hands-on exercises, right? Things together that are going to help you to transform and expand. So this isn't just a course where you're just going to learn a bunch of shit. Like I talk to you all day today. We actually do the work together. You're going to learn to shift your vibration, your frequency. You're going to be in it. You're going to have interactive exercises, group work together. We're going to be working on those challenges together. And you get to connect with all these amazing other people in the community because again, right, collective shift right now. So we learn to heal our past wounds, shape your future, and live in alignment, right? And then we're going to work with interdimensional communication. So, right, learning to directly communicate with your higher self, other dimensions, synchronicity activation, unleash the power of synchronicity, right? There is no such thing as coincidence. Everything is synchronicity. I have had just the amount of synchronicity that has showed up since I moved to Austin a month ago has been out of this world of mind-blowing. And with the more and more you activate and stay in that magical realm, the more and more those things will show up. And then we're gonna, learn on like working towards the activation of your ascension, right? You're also gonna learn about quantum jumping and time bending, and you're gonna get practical steps. And then you're going to learn to integrate both Chronos time and Kairos time. So lots of fun, really amazing stuff going on for us here. Dun, 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 dun. So not only, where is it? There it is. Why is that? Oh, there it is. Okay. So it's a 4-week time bending, time activation, time mastery, time bending, quantum jumping. You have 2 live sessions. Right, we're going to be doing this Thursday 2-hour deep dives. We're going to be working in together. You're going to also get the divine DNA and bliss consciousness frequencies and the dive into that. So once you do this course, you'll have that. And you'll have all this for life, all of it. But you'll have that to be able to stay up in this resonant frequency because you'll learn how to talk to your DNA and live in bliss consciousness. And then you'll get the quantum jumping frequency journey, and then also the beautiful quantum healing and sacred geometry energy healing. There's a total value of this is almost worth $2,000, and starting tomorrow, yay! It's only $222, so you can get it for $222 or 4 payments of $555. Super simple. I want to make it easy for you guys to say yes to coming in and joining us. We already have a huge group. I've already registered. I've been talking about this for a little bit now. And so Becky says, since starting the timeline shifting work, I've noticed some remarkable changes. Her figure changed. Right? Like mine did too. My face changed. I didn't get into that today. She says, I feel more sacred. I'm becoming more aligned with my truth. I'm trusting myself. Molly says that she actually finally got a job that she was looking for. She actually also healed a teeth issue that is not on here. She says, I'm so grateful for the teachings and the support and this miracle I've been waiting for. I'm going to actually put this in the chat for you guys. But you can just, if you're on your phone, you can use the QR code to go right there and do that. And you can also go to this link. I highly recommend that you join me for this. It's going to be so much fun. You can actually, we'll see if anybody, any of our beautiful, wonderful students in our courses want to come up and share a little bit about like, what's it like to be in a course? I'm going to bring up Barbara first because she knows I love to play with her. Hi, Barbara.
Hey, Melissa. Okay, so my life has changed dramatically since I started working with Melissa. I can now say that, well, it's just so I've been in healing for a long time, long before I knew Melissa. But, people would come to me and they would continue to come to me and continue to come to me. Yesterday, for the first time, somebody came to me and she said, I'm coming back, but not for a while. I think I feel I feel really good and I don't have any anxiety and I haven't since the last time I saw you. So she finished the package. That was amazing. But what was even more amazing was during that time with her, during her session, I was getting some downloads. And one of the things was, okay, you've got to tell her that she needs to come back, but she doesn't need, it's going to be from time to time. And I was like arguing with the whatever was going through, and because I don't do this, okay, this is not something that's happened to me before. but I finally said, this feels really salesy to me and I don't want to do this. So if this is going to happen, she's going to have to bring it up and she needs to tell me. And before we left, that's exactly what happened. I am in such a different place now than I was. Melissa talked to me about some of the things that I needed to do, and I've taken many courses from her. But this package deal was something, and to quit running so many classes and to do privates because that's the right thing to be doing. Well, she finished, and I'm wondering, okay, that's finished. Now what, right? Because as she says, if you don't do what the universe wants you to do, it's going to come up and smack you in the face, and it has repeatedly. So I finish that. I get on my phone when she's gone, and I have somebody else that wants to be my new client now. Just like that, two people in this last week. So things will shift for you if you embrace this and you do it. My spine, I diagnosed with scoliosis, severe scoliosis all my life almost. And in 2020, it was at 71 degrees. I'm not checking it anymore. I am seeing a chiropractor. She works with me weekly. And I have been seeing her for some time. But in 2020, it was a 71-degree curvature. 41, I believe, is the one that is at that point you are severe scoliosis. It was down to 59 degrees in 2021, and they were blown away. And I can tell you right now, because both my chiro and I do not want to take the x-rays. My functionality and what she is doing with me is better than it ever has been before. Do I still have pain? Yeah, I still have pain, but I can do more than I've ever done before. So do this. I feel like if I heal my spine, then I will be able to go even further. And you can see it in the genetics throughout the family. So, it's whatever it is, but it doesn't have to be. And I don't believe it has to be. And I think it will change. I could go on and on, but you may want to get somebody else, Melissa.
Absolutely. No, thank you for sharing. Somebody was just saying I accidentally sent the I guess the link isn't working that I just sent out, and I only sent it to one person instead of the entire group. So I'm gonna fix that while hey Renee, can you chat?
Can we hear me? I can't
Yeah,
get
we
my
can hear
camera.
you.
Yeah, hi everyone.
Hi,
Yeah,
why don't you
camera
share
for
what
some
the
reason is screwed up today, but yeah. So while Barbara was speaking, for me working with Melissa and everyone else that interfaces in the community when we do these courses, is I've had lots of I'll say clearing and releases, but I call it integration because without understanding what your dark places are, the shadow spots, etc., we can't release something that we aren't able to see or integrate. So that's been the biggest thing for me. And when we were in Atlanta, Melissa told me the very end of our couple of days together, Melissa said, I had said, oh, well, one of my stumbling blocks, and I'm not doing this or that because I want to be freedom. And Melissa said, yeah, I don't know. I think it's something else is missing. So in being able to utilize all of the things that I have learned through my courses, I was almost instantaneously after that able to figure out what one of my missing pieces was that keeps me from fully moving forward. So it's the realization of being able to embrace the shadows, but utilize the different timelines in order to do that, I guess. And I probably don't have exactly the right verbiage for what I'm trying to impart here, but yeah, this has been a big shifting for me, and being able to step forward and manifest heal, and realize who I really am, I guess.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Working.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, so the question is, these are all, everything is recorded. You get to keep it for life. Even if you can't attend live, when we have the live classes, you will still have the energy. So energy cannot be destroyed or created, right? So they has the energy of the quantum healing and the energy frequency work and all of the stuff that is in there, whether you're on the live trainings or not. And then there's weekly inside of our Soul Alchemy Collective membership group that you all get access to during your course. There'll be challenges and things in there. So it's going to be an active community. So whether you can actually do the course live, or the live classes, which this first one is this Thursday, then you'll still have the benefit of learning so much and being a part of that, and the community that everybody that's in there that are working on shifting their stuff together and stuff is really powerful for everyone. So that was a question that just came through. Also with the payment plan option. So you'll see when you go over there, if you need a payment plan, there's two options. There's Afterpay and Klarna that will break those payments up for you into 4 payments. If for some reason the only reason that won't work is if for someone has a challenging credit, it doesn't go against your credit, but it checks it for that. If for some reason, shoot us an email, support@melissaminnick.com, and we will create a payment link for you if you really need the 4-time payment plan. We'll make sure that works for you. We are, my goal is for you to really get supported and be a part of this. And it's not about like, if you need a payment plan, if you need something, we're happy to help you with any of that. Let's see if there is any other questions. So again, the payment link is the bit.ly/timelines. And you get it's the 4 modules, right? The 4 weekly modules on time mastery, time bending, quantum jumping, rewriting your past, are live sessions, which are deep dives into journeying and shifting and healing the past, your divine DNA and bliss consciousness, deep dive, interactive healing and learning how to work with your DNA to stay in the frequency. You also get the frequency journey, which is going to be something where it trains your brain and your energy field to align with the quantum field for accelerated results. And then the sacred geometry and energy healing. So again, it's almost $2,000 worth of value that you're getting for only $222. And we start tomorrow. So don't wait. Although our first call isn't until Thursday, we will take people into the course all the way up until the end of the week, meaning that if for some reason that you, timeline shifts. Is it timeline shifts? Okay. Timeline shifts. Thank you. Yeah. Victoria's on it for me. You're amazing, Victoria. Thank you so much. So we'll take people into the course up until the end of the week. So you will have a few days to join us, but I would highly recommend starting tomorrow, because we'll be in the community immediately, joining, playing, and having everything. So your ceremony, full moon, what I really recommend for you to do, because this is about the collective timeline shift right now, and full moon is about releasing and letting go, right? That full moon in Capricorn is to go, and that thing that you're writing about, what do we need to release as a collective? I want you to write that on something, and I want you to burn it or wash it down the toilet, wash it down with water, right? And then cleanse yourself with salt. So salt is a really powerful cleansing agent. I know, right? Say, cleanse yourself with salt, and that clears your energy field, and it clears your aura to allow you to release and let go of new. Somebody's asking about time. Thursday, I believe Thursday's call is at 7 p.m. Eastern, if I'm correct. Yeah, 7 p.m. Eastern. So, okay, anything else, you beautiful souls? My gosh, thank you all so much for joining me for this full moon in Capricorn collective timeline shift. I'm so excited for what we have going on. We really are in a magical time. Again, it's the line in the sand, everyone. It's the line in the sand, right? We are here for the shift. It is happening. Everyone, it's time to take over. And I know you're all feeling it. We're all feeling the energy shifts. We have the solar flares. We have the Schumann resonance going off the charts, right? We have gaps. We have things happening. Our energy fields are changing. It's all just a collective understanding of what is going on for all of us. And this course is just here to help solidify you into that and heal those other things so that you can really make a difference in your own life, and so that we can make a difference together. Oh yeah, so you'll receive an email with the replay, and then also some exercises to do for the full moon for tonight. Okay, thank you. All right, bye everyone. Love you so much.